Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for the weekend of July 15th through the 16th of 2023. I appreciate you guys joining me in this video. I hope that you guys are having a lovely Saturday so far. It is almost 11 a.m., and I'm just not getting to recording this. I needed more sleep. Anyways, let's go ahead and hop into the transits for this weekend. So we do, of course, we're gonna have that. We are in the new moon phase, pretty much. We are building up to we're in the balsamic moon phase, with where the moon is within 30 degrees. So it is dark right now, right? We are also going to have Venus, which is already in quincunx to Neptune. That's going to pretty much be in quincunx to Neptune all weekend. We also have Venus, which is in quincunx to Pluto. Pluto, which is sextile Neptune, is a 2-degree orb, mind you, but this effectively creates a yod, a finger of God, which pointing towards Venus. A lot of awkward and intense energy. Now, by the time that you're watching this, the moon would have already squared over to Neptune. This squares Neptune. This was around 8:35 Eastern Standard Time. So this moon in Gemini, of course, especially, looking, it's a very curious energy whenever the moon is in Gemini. Our emotions can be, in many ways, very much linked to our thoughts and stuff like that. So it can be kind of wild out there, especially with it being in the Decan rule by Uranus. This is definitely way out there communications, definitely way out there thoughts that could trigger emotions that kind of come out of nowhere. You know what I mean? This could be things that just come from left field. And with it squaring over to Neptune, there's definitely this element here where we're peeling back the curtain. Neptune retrograde, I'm telling you, this is when Oz has been found out. This is when the curtain's pulled back and we realize the genie behind the curtain was just a regular dude, right? So, and that's the thing about this too. So as this happens, of course, the moon did sextile over to Venus, which is nice. But if you know anything, if you know about these yods and stuff like that, you will see that the moon sextiling Venus, while both of them are quincunx and Pluto, creates a second yod. So we have like two finger of gods going on at the same time. It's this point of destiny where it's like literally pointing to one spot. It's like, well, you definitely want to pay attention here. You have one, the consistent one, the one that's going to sustain itself over the whole weekend. One is pointing towards Venus. This one temporarily does point towards Pluto. So there's definitely this element where we are kind of, when it comes to the way that society has been built at this point, and also how we feel about love in general and how we receive love in general. These are the things that we're going to be focused on. There's this element where we are peeling back the curtain with Neptune. There's an element with the moon in Gemini where it's like we're just really trying to figure things out. Things are coming out of left field, things that we just never really thought of before, and we're trying to figure out how do we really feel about them. It's a lot of it does come back to Venus, and I'll say Venus is probably one of the major players this weekend. And a lot of times, like if you haven't noticed, in my descriptions, I've been putting where the sun is, where the moon is, and the big players of the day. Venus has been a big player for a while, and Venus will continue to be a big player for a while throughout its retrograde, right? Neptune has been a big player. Saturn has been a big player. I would definitely say for a day like today, especially with this yod that is becoming stronger, it'll become stronger throughout the day because the Venus is going to stay at 27 degrees the entire weekend. So this yod between Neptune, Pluto, and Venus becomes stronger and stronger and stronger as the day progresses, as the weekend progresses. Another thing that does become stronger as the weekend progresses, Mars is coming into its opposition with Saturn. Mercury is coming into its square with Jupiter. In fact, if we were to move this forward to pretty much the current moment, a little bit afterwards, you're going to see that moon is going to move into Cancer by 1:35 Eastern Standard Time. And the moment that it does this, of course, it does sextile the North Node and it does trine the South Node. We can also see that this quincunx between Venus and Neptune is damn near exact. 2736, 2737. Damn near exact. So as soon as the moon comes home, you would think that the moon is going to like, all right, I can kind of feel good. I'm back home, but this is all happening while this energy is going on. So another thing about the whole Venus, quincunx, and Neptune thing is that this is sort of like, this is the moment where the dude actually, like, say like two people actually move in with each other, and then the dude notices just how much makeup the chick puts on, and then he sees like her real face and stuff. And this goes both ways too, though. You know what I mean? This does go both ways. That's just the example that I came up with, but it can be like that. It's like you peel back the curtain, you really get to see someone for who they are. It's not just physical appearances either. It's just, it's their personality, their creativity, their passion, just who they are, their quirks and stuff too. How their habits, that in many ways is what's happening here with this Venus quincunxing the Neptune. There's a sense of waking up to who someone really is in many ways. And then we have to ask ourselves, do we accept this? Are we going to receive this and allow this into our lives, into our life? Is this something that we are good with? Is this something that we are Gucci with? So now with the sextile to the North Node, there's the opportunity, right? So the opportunity arises to really see the value in this and to really build a strong foundation right here. The trine to the South Node is definitely going to seem a little bit more enticing and stuff, but it is going to remind us of our investments. And it's going to remind us of where we invest our emotional energy into, where we invest our energy into in general, not just emotional, but where do we invest it into and how important that really is. So I do think this is a interesting day to kind of like just chill out. You know what I mean? Honestly, find the things to appreciate, especially with the moon coming into Cancer. It is a good time to spend time with family and stuff, but to not take things super, super seriously, because we are all realizing that we all have our scar tissue. We all have our weird quirks and our weird intricacies. No one's 100% put together, right? Everyone's got something that's going on. Even from a physical standpoint, the most beautiful put together person probably has some type of work done. Maybe they have veneers, maybe they have plastic surgery, something that they did to alter what they naturally would look like, right? So when you take that into consideration, you'd realize that you really don't have anything to worry about, because we are all weird and quirky in our own way, right? So the sun, of course, as you can see, at 22 degrees, it does make the sextile over to Uranus, but it does come off of the sextile today. It will move to 23 degrees of Cancer today. But I just wanted to show you guys that sextile between the moon and the North Node. And as you can see, like I said, that Venus is pretty much going to be, you move it forward a little bit, and then bam, it's exact 2737, 2737. All right. Now, let's move on. Let's just keep moving this on, right? I'm going to move this to when the moon is trining Saturn. So the moon will trine Saturn early Sunday morning. So it's 1:35 a.m. So if you're on the East Coast or anywhere else, you might still be awake on the East Coast. But if you're on the West Coast, you'll definitely probably still be awake. But this moon is going to make the nice trine over to Saturn. So this is kind of the interesting thing. It's like, we've already peeled back the curtain with Neptune, we're peeling back the curtain with Neptune. This moon in Cancer, wanting to feel good, you know what I mean? Wanting to feel good in its serenity and its sanctuary and its home life and stuff. And then, of course, this trine over to Saturn. Nice aspect, absolutely. Now, like I said, Saturn retrograde in Pisces is like Saturn's on vacation. She's still kind of handling business because she has to, because it's Saturn, but she's definitely doing her best to delegate as much as fucking possible. So with this happening at 6 degrees, 6 is the number of Venus in numerology. It's the number of Libra in numerology. So there's definitely going to be this element where it's like we're trying to find some sort of balance when it comes to our emotions, and we're trying to find some sort of balance when it comes to our dreams and what we see for ourselves. Trying to see that, like, you know what, maybe the dream hasn't fully manifested right now, but that doesn't mean that I still can't feel good in this moment. I think sometimes when we're striving for different things, if we have like a dream, if we have like a goal, we're like, I can only feel good once this task is completed. But you can feel good in the moment too. Absolutely. In fact, that's probably what's going to get you to your goal more efficiently. I'm not going to say faster, but I'm going to say more efficiently. Because you don't necessarily want to rush this thing either. Some of you guys have big dreams and big lofty goals. You can't rush that. It's not a rush job. It's something that's going to take time to build, right? That's what the whole North Node in Taurus, what Jupiter is teaching us. The cool thing is that we do have Uranus here still, which is going to throw in some like little wild cards. You know what I mean? Like Uranus in Taurus is like the reverse card in Uno. Like it just throws, it's a wild card. It's random. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the move metronome in Pokemon. You know what I mean? It can be any random move, and it can change the course of the game. So I think, but we have to, that comes down to trust. It comes down to trust that there are going to be certain things that come up that will change the name of the game, but we have to trust that it's working out in the way that's supposed to, in the way that the universe sees fit, So we do have that energy. So 2744, 2737. That yod is strengthening, even more so between them. So, Neptune, like I said, is going backwards. Although I don't think Neptune is really moving that fast. Neptune's moving like, it's it's just moving like 29 seconds a day? Yeah, it's moving like super slow, mad slow, super slow, right? So, anyways, move on to Sunday. Let's move this to like 6:35, right? So when the sun's coming up, we got that moon at 8 degrees now, moving towards the sextile with Jupiter today. We do have Mercury here at 9:56, which is square with Jupiter. That's getting tighter and tighter. You're going to feel that kind of tighten up over the day. I feel like that's going to be one of the major transits of the day, is that tightening of the square between Mercury and Jupiter for Sunday. Now, what's interesting about this too is that when it does happen, when the square does happen, Mercury will be in the decan ruled by Jupiter in Leo, and Jupiter will be in the decan ruled by Mercury in Taurus. So there's a bit of mutual reception here, right? And 11 is all about becoming. It's that first mirror point, right? I talked about this, when you have like your numbers, right? 0 through 9, right? And then you have 10, which is technically just two numbers put together. It's two digits, right? It's two places, like 0 is like kind of like a placeholder. And then you have 1. It's the first time that you get the same number back to back, 1, 1, unless you count 00. But I typically don't count 00, even though we have a 00 right here. But like, it's the first time that you get bam, bam, right? And then you get like this mirror point. So this is when you look in the mirror and you see what has become, what is, right? And then from there, you can kind of, go from there, because after 1, 1, you get 1, 2. In many ways, it's like, well, how do you feel about it? What do you believe about what you see in the mirror? And then you get to 1, 3, right? Which next to a 4 is like, well, do you belong in this energy, right? Do you belong to this vision, if you will? And it just continues from there, all right? So with this energy, being that it's going to be 11, Jupiter, of course, I've been enjoying the Jupiter in Taurus. It's been an interesting kind of energy. And, and Jupiter and Mercury, they do get along they kind of get along. It's funny how Mercury, when Mercury is in Sagittarius, it actually doesn't like to be there. But yet Mercury is like the messenger for Jupiter. So it's kind of interesting how that works. I think it's because Mercury likes to actually be out in the field and getting all the information. Mercury is like an investigative journalist. And then when Mercury goes into Sagittarius, he's just like relaying everything back to the king, or back to the king of the gods with Jupiter. And it's like, that's just part of Mercury's job and what he has to do, but he'd much rather be out into the field. So what's interesting about this is Mercury is going to be like, so this is what I've been thinking about as far as like creativity, passion, love and stuff. And this is where we are right now. And Jupiter's like, okay, cool. This is what we have built to this point. This is the foundation that we have laid and stuff based off of the hopes and visions and the belief of said individual. And then it's like, okay, what do we do with that though? Right? It's like it comes to the point where you'll ask yourself, all right, what do we do with that energy though? I'll go ahead and it's like I said, it's later on in the day, mind you, when it actually does occur. Like you can see that it's much later in the day. Once Mercury hits 11 degrees, it's 9:35. So this builds throughout the entire day. By this point, the moon is at 16 degrees of Cancer. So it's definitely moving, and it's coming to a square with Chiron too. It'll square Chiron late in the evening. So Sunday is a day really about this building and budding energy, just building up to the new moon, and just emotions can run high. They can be a little bit deeper. They may be a little intense, but I think that's why it's really important to rest this weekend, to like really rest this weekend and just take time to just chill out. I work tomorrow, so I'm not going to really be able to rest tomorrow, but I am resting today. So, but it's definitely going to be a weekend where you want to just kind of chill out, not take everything so super seriously, because we can't feel like things are changing in this world, and sometimes it's time to rest. Sometimes it's like go time, right? Even though Mars wants to go, it is about to oppose Saturn. So it's like there's a pending battle coming up. Anytime you have, and it's interesting because they're two malefics, right? But anytime that you have like an aspect to like Saturn or like Pluto, or I'll even say Mars, it's like a boss battle. Not even so much that Saturn, Pluto, or Mars is the bad guy, but there is a sort of boss battle, if you will. So now you have Mars opposing Saturn. That's like two, bad guys about to go at it. It's like a turf war, if you will. It's going to be happening. And it's funny too, because you're like, how is it a turf war if they're in, opposite sides? Well, it's two sides of the same coin. So it is kind of like a turf war. You know what I mean? It's a turf war in the sense where it's like you have like this place and there's like a fence that goes through it. And then they're trying to figure out where the fence should be. Is like, hey, you need to move that fence over because you guys have more space than us. It's that kind of an energy, right? So, like I said, we do have, like I said, that square between Mercury and Jupiter at that point. That moon's going to be at 16 degrees. By the end of the day, going into the next day, pretty much, you have 17 degrees. It will, like I said, it'll square Chiron, pretty much overnight. So, and then Mars has moved to 4 degrees at this point too. So, yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting weekend of building energy, and that's why it's important to just take time, whether it's for 5 minutes or an hour or a couple hours, to just kind of chill out, relax, remember the things that you are grateful for. Appreciate those in your life that you are grateful for. Let them know, communicate that to them. That's this whole thing with the whole Mercury squaring Jupiter thing too. It's like, tell people, even if it feels a little bit difficult, just tell them that you appreciate them. Because you wouldn't, in many ways, you would not be who you are without them. That's not this. It's not to credit them for everything that you do, but we as humans, we meet people. People influence us, whether it's in small ways or big ways. So you wouldn't be who you are without them. I wouldn't be who I am without you guys. You know what I mean? So yeah, I am an individual person. You know what I mean? I have my individual autonomy, free will and stuff. But at the same time, we do all influence each other. We are all players in this game. Teamwork makes the dream work. So this is definitely a great moment where, with the square energy, even though it's a challenging aspect, at the very least, they are in the decans ruled by the other planet. So it causes some mutual reception. This is sort of like that moment where it's like, this could be the moment, like, and I'm just going to use sports as an example because that's what I like to do. This is that moment where you're kind of like in the locker room, right? And you're down by like 10 points, whatever like that. And instead of getting mad at your teammates because they made some mistakes, you actually go into a strategy meeting, especially with it being 11. 11 is Virgo energy. So especially with like, this is a strategy meeting. You could pick apart and criticize and be overly analytical about every little thing, but that moon in Cancer wants to bring a little bit of like compassion to this as well. So like, don't like be like super overly critical of other people or your situation, and try and pick it apart and try and figure everything out right now and trying to come up with a solution for everything in your life right now. No, just switch the formation. I think that's really what this comes down to. If you just switch up your formation, see what happens. You don't have to like try and figure out every little thing and be like, okay, if I do this, and this, we will score 27.8 points in 5 minutes. And they're like, don't like over calculate this weekend. This is a weekend to not over calculate, right? Just enjoy the weekend, take it one step at a time. Just take it bit by bit. You don't have to overcalculate. You don't have to read the entire series, right? You don't have to read the entire novel series. You don't have to read the entire book. Just take it chapter by chapter, and it's all good. And you don't have to read it all in one setting either. You can put the book down, you can relax and do something else, and come back to it. That's just the kind of weekend that this is. So let's get into the cards. All right. I have my light. Normally it's a little bit further back this way, but it's actually more up. So I don't know if this is really, I don't know. I feel like it's causing like an interesting kind of shadow, an interesting perspective. So I put it up there because, it made it easier to do the tarot reading that I did yesterday. So that's why I did that. So I can bring more illumination to this spot right here. So to my actual desk. Well, yeah, it's interesting up there. I might keep it up there. Yeah. So let's see what we have for this weekend. Cards that we have. All right. Oh, I have the Devil card in reverse. Interesting. Devil card in reverse. I also have the Seven of Swords in reverse. And I have the Prince of Wands in reverse. And anytime I get a bunch of reverse cards, you can read it both ways. So here's the thing. Devil card in reverse. So these are fears of things that you've already, overcame, right? The Devil card reverse. Any type of the way I'm saying this really is that any type of delusions or enticing that's not the word I'm looking for. What's the word I'm looking for? Any type of enticing desires, you know what I mean? Anything where we feel like we may have to kind of like give up something, you know what I mean? It's like making like a deal with the devil, whatever like that and stuff, but it's reverse. So there's really nothing to be afraid of and nothing to be scared of, and then you have the Seven of Swords in reverse too. Yeah, so there's definitely this element where we may feel like something is being taken from us. What's interesting about this card is that all of the swords are in the ground. He's not even holding them. You know what I mean? So this person is not beholden by the past. They're not beholden. They're looking out and it's full moon in this card, but they're not beholden by the past, and they're not beholden by people that have stolen from him or taken from him. They're in the ground. So it's done. You're moving forward, right? And then you have this Prince of Wands here too, which is teaching us to be courageous in the face of fear, to be courageous in the face of seemingly dark times, dark moments, to be courageous because these things that people may have taken from you, these things or these different enticing things, but were really, quite negative in reality, maybe things that you were promised, whatever like that, and then it turns out to not be that way. these things are, they don't have the power that we think they do. They really don't. And I think this is going to be a powerful weekend of realizing that the power that we attributed to these energies and to these things, to these situations, isn't exactly as strong as we think it is. I'm going to cut the deck and get another card, just in general. Yeah, we have the Six of Pentacles. Once again, it is reversed, so you can read it. You can read it like this too, if you want to. So the Six of Pentacles. Yeah, there's definitely this element too with it being reversed. Don't overextend yourself this weekend too, and realizing that when you giving of yourself can come in many different ways. It doesn't have to just be a monetary way. Usually you see this where someone's kind of giving little coins to people that are kind of begging stuff, but this shows him he just is showing all of his value. That's what this depiction of it. So he's showing all of his value and the things that he has built, and he's standing on this cliff too. It's probably the same cliff that the Fool sits on too. If you think about it, the Fool usually is on a cliff as well. So that's the thing. This is going to be a moment where just radiate, show your value, and the right people will come into your life, right? The right people will come into your life. Let's look at the Oracle card. I think this is an interesting spread as far as the cards go, but I'm really getting the feeling that whatever it is, whether it's a person or a situation, that we may see as the enemy, if you will, or maybe playing the role of the enemy, because these cards are reversed. I don't. First of all, whatever it is, whatever plan, whatever diabolical plan they have, first of all, it didn't work or failed. Or even if it did work, it's done. You're moving on from it. You know what I mean? So you are no longer beholden to it. It's sort of it's what I'm hearing here is that that situation or person is gonna be like, wait, you're not upset anymore? No, I've forgiven you. Wait, what? You've forgiven me? Yeah. I mean, I still don't like what you did and stuff like that, but I've forgiven you. I moved on because I have to do it for myself. I have to have the strength to do it for myself. This isn't about you. It's about me. And then that person's going to get really flustered and freaked out, whatever like that. It's like, wait, no. This person gets energy from you constantly ruminating on how you screwed them over or how they screwed you over. That's what they get their energy from. But if you take your energy back, that's in many ways what the Six of Pentacles in reverse is also saying, is to take your energy back as well. You take away their power because they're not focused on their heart. They're not focused on their love. They feel like they have to take from you in order to get something. When really they have to look within to find what's missing and then bring that out into the world, just like you are bringing your love and radiating your love into the world. So this is definitely going to be a moment where, you may feel like people are trying to steal your thunder, steal your light, steal your energy this weekend. Just allow it to roll off, move forward in a positive way, chill out, relax, realize that everything is shifting, and you'll be all good. But yeah, don't let them steal your thunder. But they're going to get really mad. They're going to be really mad. It's like, I can't believe you've moved on. I'm like, yep. But man, I want you to stay angry at me. That's where I get my power and sustenance. Well, that sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. Great adventure. Take a risk, venture forward. Yep. It is time for you to move on from this feeling of lack. It is time for you to move on from this feeling of that something has been taken from you, that you can't be yourself, that when you give, maybe you've given of yourself in the past and it was taken advantage of, It is time for you to have the courage to move forward. That's why the Prince of Wands is here. The Prince of Wands is that person right there, right? That is the Prince of Wands right there with his crew and stuff like that too. Going out, finding new lands, going on a brand new quest, a new adventure. This is the weekend that starts to really herald that forward. And the Six of Pentacles is like taking your power back in many ways, taking your power back, realizing your true value, what you have built, whatever like that. Then this can be a very positive weekend of, we have to kind of find the balance between just chilling out and relaxing, but also taking a step forward towards what it is that we want to create, our dreams, the beautiful spiritual journey, the quest. There's definitely a balancing out with that. But like I said, we don't want to get too serious and too critical on what we did in the past and how we might have held ourselves back from actually embarking on this quest because of certain fears or because we feel like certain things have happened to us that will hold us back, certain handicaps, if you will. It's definitely going to be a weekend of realizing that we can overcome those fears and overcome those handicaps and realize our true value and move forward in a powerful and positive way. We don't have to do the whole thing today. We don't have to do the whole thing this weekend, but we can still move forward. And so long as that one domino falls, every subsequent domino will continue to fall. We have to just trust the process. That is going to do it for your weekend astrology forecast. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. If you would like a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to my website, jphoenix.com. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful weekend. I will see you guys for the new moon in Cancer video for Monday's astrology forecast. Y'all take care. Stay blessed. Sayonara. Adios. Peace out. Love y'all.